Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to John Perrotta's Comedy Factory Zoomalooza. Throw up the windows. Call out to the neighbors. It's time to have some fun. And now, the guy that choreographed New Kids on the Blocks, step by step. Ooh, baby, it's John Perrotta.
That's Mike Cronin, the bad boy of comedy turned religious comic. There he is. Very unstable. We asked him to be on often. He's locked in a room in North Providence. They let him out once in a while. He's all right. But welcome to the Comedy Factory Comedy Chat. We got some great guests tonight. We got Elaine Pelino, who's a cheerleader on the Houston Oilers, an actress, comedian. How you doing, Elaine?
Hi, how you doing, John? Nice
Good. We got my man Roman Pierce, very funny guy. Had some great sets with the Comedy Factory, Funny for Funds, and been doing it quite a while. I think you won a contest at Catch. Did you win one over there?
Yep, Catch a Rising Star. Yep.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Roman won a catch. And then we got Bo Applegate, very funny guy. Came onto the scene about, I guess, a year and a half ago. Been doing a lot of his own. How long?
Like 9 months, maybe?
9 months. He's been doing a lot of his own stuff, a lot of his own shows, and having fun doing podcasts, and he's doing a great job. And then we got our old friend we used to work with at the Great Imposter Comedy Club we did in Warwick, Rhode Island in 92, 93, around there. Mike Thomas. Mike's in the house. How you doing, Mike?
Good to see you, Tony.
Mike moved out to Florida. Got a job with Verizon, works out in Florida. Yeah, it's not giving me a discount yet on my cell phone bill. You can't do that.
No, I can't do it. Can't do it, brother. You gotta pay my salary.
But it's great. It's a hot day today. So what did I do? I took a ride and got some hot Italian food. What does an Italian do on a hot day? You think I'd get a lemonade or something like that? I went to Rigatoni's in Warwick, and I got chicken parm and pasta to go. Because I don't go in there yet, but I get it to go. It was delicious. If you ever been to Rigatoni's in Warwick, it's really, really good place. But so welcome all you guys. Elaine, what's going on with you?
Just enjoying the beautiful weather. Been doing a lot of yard work in my next to the pond, and just staying busy, exercising, getting ready to travel soon. I got a trip coming up in September, and maybe
where are you gonna
go? I don't want to say yet, but I might have a trip for a reality show. Keeping my in late August, unless they cancel it. But anyway.
Yeah, a reality show, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty.
I already did a couple.
Yeah, how'd they go?
Yeah.
You already did a couple of reality shows?
Yeah, I did actually the Housewives of Houston, the Real Housewives of Houston, as the cheerleader, coming back to all my rich girlfriends that married all the billionaire old men. And nobody wanted to be mean. Everybody was trying to be sweet. They're all beautiful. I said, no. And they told us, ladies, you got to bitch it up because if you don't, it's going to be boring. So God bless, we didn't get picked up. So
Sees you. She watches that show. So
oh, really?
Thanks, Elaine. I got to watch Real Housewives.
I'm not on. They never picked up Houston. Sorry.
Okay.
Or they never picked it up?
It's
Dallas, Beverly Hills,
You got a pond where you live? You got a pond outside there?
Yeah, I have a pond. I have all kinds of animals. I have swans, ducks, geese, groundhogs. I have little river otters that come out and they swim around. They're really cute.
Where do you live? You live on a farm? You live on a farm? I'm at Cranston over here. You live on a farm? I'm on Reservoir Ave. I got a weenie joint named.
No, I'm in Smithfield, and we have a dock, and they got 2 boats, 3 kayaks, so it's fun.
Wow.
Can I ask a question, Elaine?
You're gonna.
And I have my tenants on the other side, and they have a ball. It's really fun.
When this pandemic is over, you're gonna have a bash and invite everybody over. We'll do a big comedy show there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. We can. The yard is huge. It's a big backyard. We can do it out there, and I can't wait. This stuff is like crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've talked to a lot of comedians like the last few weeks, and they're all going kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Not being able to perform, and there's so many comedians and so little work. Like some work is coming back, and some of them are doing a little here or there. But there's, like I said, there's so many comics. There's so many of us, and so little work. So I mean, we're not really going to be doing too much work for a while. I don't think. We got Roman Pierce. Roman went. He said he won Catch a Rising Star. Remember when that was? That was a few years back. I remember when you won.
Yeah, that was like 2008, 2009. That was like about 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
that was a while back. Right around the time Rhode Island Comedy Festival time. That was at the Stadium Theater. So that was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember doing that at the stadium.
Yeah.
I was on that night with Charlie Hall had that group.
Yeah, I think that's around the time we met. Around that
Yeah.
time.
Right
So
around that time.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen you have some hilarious sets. I've seen you have some when you worked for me. You had some hilarious sets. You know.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, brother.
So you must be. How are you holding out during the pandemic?
Not good, man. I'm locked home with my family. It's not going well, John. I don't know what to do. They got me locked in the basement. You know.
Are you
used to
working
going to
from
work.
home? Are you working from home?
Yeah, I'm working from home, fortunately.
Yeah.
So,
how old are your kids?
well, I have my son is actually going to be 30 in February. So,
Yeah.
but I have two daughters that still live at home, obviously, and one's 12 and the other one's 7. So,
Wow. You got a big age
I'm
difference.
surrounded by females here, John. My son doesn't live here anymore, so it's just me and the girls.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel your pain, Roman. I feel your pain.
Yep, I hear you. Yep.
Mike's in Florida. How many girls you live with, Mike?
My wife and my 20-year-old daughter,
Oh.
and she got sent home from college. So at first you're like, oh, that's great. She's going to be home. And, you know, it changes the whole dynamic. You can't walk around the house naked anymore.
Yep.
There's no,
Yep. Gotta wear pants.
it's just, you know, there's just certain things you just don't want, you know. I don't want my wife to see me naked half the time, let alone somebody, you know. We can drink on here, right?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay,
Just don't
down-
get into heavy drugs. You can drink.
I'm
You
down,
can
to one, I'm down to
smoke
one
a joint.
I'm down to one drink a day.
I met Mike at the great. Where did we meet at Periwinkle's, or was it the?
We met at Periwinkle's. I took the comedy class with Frank O'Donnell.
Yeah.
I went to Periwinkle's, and that was like the graduation. You had to go to Periwinkle's, and you were in the audience, a big Italian wandering around talking to strangers in the club, trying to get everybody's phone number. And my friend, well, still to this day, but I came with Frank Carpano. I brought Frank Carpano. You remember?
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
in the audience. And that's how we met, and I had a good set. I mean, the only things that were really funny the first time I went on stage was when I made fun of the audience. My material absolutely sucked, but because I made fun of the audience, it was a good set. We met at Periwinkle's, and then we did the Great Imposter, which was right next door to Rigatoni's. So when you said Rigatoni's, it was I think it was right next door to where you picked up your hot Italian food today.
Yeah, there was a great Italian restaurant in Warwick we did for a couple of years. Unfortunately, it went out of business, but every Saturday we used to do, and we used to sell it out every Saturday.
It was packed. It was a great room. You would never think that this little Italian restaurant, and it was like,
I think it held 100 people, and
and it was
we
packed.
used to charge $5, and we used to pack it. And we had the most amazing show. I don't know if you were there that night. We had a benefit, and Tom Carter and Bob Marley from Maine were up back to back in this benefit show.
I was there.
Yeah, and I know Bill Burr used to come around the open mics. I'm not sure if he came to the.
I don't think I ever met
Boston.
Burr. I know Tom Carter and I know Bob Marley were there that night.
Yeah,
That was a good show.
Yeah.
That and Old McDonald's Chicken Farm. That was another good. That was. I won the funniest comic in Rhode Island, like in 1996 or something, at the Old McDonald's Chicken Farm. That was another room you did.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun over. That's where I had Bill Burr. Bill Burr hosted a show over there for $25.
Yeah, that was
But
great.
before we get to Bo, we got Mike knows Mike Thomas, and you were talking before we started. Where did you guys meet, Mike?
I met Mike Thomas 100 years ago. Mike and I have a mutual friend, one of the greatest voices, I personally think, and I hope, Mike, you agree with me, in cover band history, Dawn Mora Vitello.
Yes.
Dawn fronted the original band, which was called Outnumbered.
Yep.
Her husband, a couple of others, and they interchanged a few musicians throughout the years, and then she came up with a great name, Dawn Patrol.
That's right.
Wow, what a great voice.
That's right.
Dawn, if you're listening, how you are not signed by a major recording label, shame on them.
That's
This
right.
girl is phenomenally talented. And I remember Mike Thomas, from way back in the day, hysterical. Great material, good content, able to move through his set, work through that with the crowd, engaging. I have nothing but great memories of Mike Thomas.
Wait, Mike, were you the one that booked the New England Health racket? The New England Health?
I did. Do you remember that? I did.
He booked a show one night. No word of a lie.
At a health club.
It started at like 7, and John, you were there too. It started at like 7 at night, and he had 15 comics. I swear to God, it was just a marathon show. It was midnight. I was the last comic to go up, and the guy before me absolutely sucked. Do you remember that, Mike?
I do remember that.
And I was so pissed. I was looking at Mike, and I'm going, "What have you done? What have you done?" And I went up. I had one of the best sets I've ever had in my life. And I got off the stage, and I remember Mike coming up to me, and he was going, "I don't know how the hell you did that." I mean, people were falling asleep. And it was just, and I think
You woke him up, Mike.
I was so pissed that it just made my show better. But oh my God, that was hilarious.
I do remember that. What had happened was, Mike, I had worked at New England Health and Racket, and they knew I did stand up, and they said, "Hey, if you want to put a show in here, we're open to that." So we talked about money and budget, the whole 9 yards, and I did that. And taking a note from my dear friend John Perrotta's carbon copy, well, let's book 20 comics. So that's what I did. I booked a football team.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, one of them is got to be funny.
I swear, some of them weren't even comics. I swear to God. He was like just asking people, like working out on hey, come on up, do a few minutes. I mean, it was just brutal.
I remember that like it was yesterday. Like it was yesterday. Now, you've got to excuse me. I'm taking a page out of Johnny Costin's playbook by smoking on the Zoomalooza comedy chat here.
I've never seen you smoke online on the show here. Why are you doing that, Mikey?
Well, because not educated in terms of not smoking and do smoking, so I just figured I would smoke tonight as I wanted to.
Talk about when you opened for Strut at the station. You mentioned you opened for Strut.
Oh my goodness, that was a great set.
They were a great band back in the day. They were a great band.
I can remember there was a time in my life when Kenny Ribello, Kenny, if you're listening, I love you with all my heart. We were like the best of friends. We were inseparable. And through working with John, doing all the shows that John would book me at, working for Dana and all the shows that she was booking me at, Kenny says to me one day, "Dude," well, he didn't say dude because you didn't say dude back then. I forget what they said. Maybe he said bro, whatever. He said, "Why don't you open up for us at the station?" And I'm like, I don't know if that would work. Do it. Let's do it. So I said, "You know what, man? let's just absolutely get at it and do it. So I'll never forget it. Way before cell phones, I had my little ivory white box answering machine with a little tape recording cassette you would pop in there. And I had this message that I played to people. This Saturday, catch me at the station as I open up for the legendary rock cover band Strut at the station. So I go there, and I'm like, I'm really concerned because Strut was like, in my humble opinion, the best cover band.
Yeah, they were a great band.
That played New England, one of them. You know, I was tight with Kenny, Spiro,
Garrow was in that.
Garrow, Dave Lags. I knew all these guys. So I can remember I normally did not get nervous or concerned before going up before a show, but that one I was. And I said to myself, man, you got to hit them and hit them hard because they didn't come to see me. Who the heck is Mike Cronin, the bad boy of comedy? This guy with long hair, looks like a front man. Now he's going to do comedy in front of one of our beloved cover bands? Get out of here. And I got out there and I hit them. And what I did was, Mike and everybody else listening, was I did which I normally never did. I started out that set by doing material. I hit them with material, set jokes that I knew that would work. The jokes that would normally I would close with, I hit them in the beginning. And I worked my way through that set. I only had to do 15 minutes. And thank you, Jesus, I got a standing ovation at the end of it. I was like, wow. Matter of fact, it's funny, Michael, that you bring that up because my friend Kim just sent me a text, and she went with me that night to that show. I'll never forget, she had a white dress on with red polka dots, and it was a great night. I was humbled.
Did you wind up by Elaine's pond with her with the dress with the polka dots?
Well, come on now, we got to keep this PG.
Maybe kayaking or something. I mean, maybe with.
I thought maybe you would have woke up with the white dress on the next morning. I thought
Here's what happened, right? I did that set. We had a great time that night, and we left there, and we went to Haven Brothers.
Oh.
And I'll never forget, we go up to Haven Brothers, and Kim, all decked out, beautiful as she looked. Kim is Korean, long black hair, bobbed across the front. She gets up to the front, and the guy says, "What would you like?" And she said, "I'll have 2 coronary specials." I'll never forget it. So much
I'll
fun.
tell you, opening up for anything rock and roll is any rock band or that is one of the hardest things. Ernie Lewis was the guitar player for Outnumbered, and that's how I knew. That's how I met Dawn, and that's how I met them. And he always asked me to do comedy while they were playing, and I always refused because I just said, and for that very reason that you said, they're there to see you.
I've done it. Yeah, I've done it a few times. It's not easy with a band.
No.
We got to go over to Bo. My man Bo took our comedy class, and it's only been 9-10 months.
Yeah. If you count COVID.
You was having some great sets. You were doing awesome when this thing hit.
I was doing pretty good.
Yeah, you were doing a lot of shows, and then you started your own. Like, what do you got going on? I know you got different types of shows going on.
Right now, I do a talk show on Friday nights on Facebook called Hack Seat. We roast local comics. So yeah, this Friday we had Angela Sawyer on, so she was fun. And the Friday before that, I had Al Christakis, and we had Rodney Norman on, I think the week before that.
Yeah, Rodney. I know Rodney and Al. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, next week I have some guy in Virginia, Winston. On Wednesdays, we do a Zoom open mic, and it's kind of fun to see comics from across the country. We got people from India, from Europe, and from Malaysia.
Wow. So you get people comics from all over the world.
Yeah, I'll have
Wow.
the 24th. I'm having a Zoom showcase featuring some of the women that I've met on the open mic, and Liana Heng will perform. She's from Malaysia, and who else do I have performing? I have a couple from different parts of the country. I think she's the only international I have.
Oh, that's cool. I had Stacy Kendra on last night, who I started with years ago. I worked with her for years, and she said, "You want me to do some of my set?" And we've done all these Zoom shows, and no one said, "Hey, I'm going to do some comedy." So I said, "You want to?" So she had me introduce her. She did about a 5-10 minute set. She did well, and then a little while later, we're talking. She said, "My mother's here." She had a character she does. She went and got her mother. She comes back as her mother. And she's looking into the screen, and she was like really wacky. It was really funny, and so she was very entertaining. You know, I mean, me personally, you guys know I work the crowd, so I can't. Am I gonna stop picking on everybody? I can't. I just don't feel. I don't feel. I got some material, but I don't feel comfortable. Maybe at some point, who knows? Maybe we'll have a Zoom comedy night. Maybe we'll go get up and do a few minutes. I'll do something like that. You know?
Good portion of the scene that just can't do Zoom. They either don't get the energy from the audience, so they can't do it, or they do a lot of crowd work. But I think there's enough people out there who see it as an opportunity. They can get maybe some FaceTime when they normally couldn't. I think the same thing with open mics. The SKU's open, the Pub on Park is open. Rick's over in Woonsocket. Corey Mayo's mic just opened. I think there's 2 in Kid. I'm trying to get an open mic opened up somewhere in Bristol or Warren, and I think Scott Machado is trying to get one open in New Bedford. Like, comedy's back. Like, there's a show.
The thing is, the open mics are coming back first. The open mics, but the shows, like I had, I don't know how many rooms I had, about 8 or 10 rooms, and right now none of them. I mean, the pub is doing Monday nights, but all the other rooms, none of them are doing it. You know, so I think the open mics are coming back. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot easier just to say, okay, we're gonna get 20 comics, and you know what I mean. But when you book a show when you need an audience, and you book like a pro show and mix in some new guys, and you get 100, 200 people, like those types of shows right now.
It's moving up. Comedy Studio open. I mean, not the Comedy Studio. I mean the Comedy Connections back open.
Yeah, they're opening on Friday and Saturday. I think, and last I knew when I read online, they could have 70 people, and it holds 220. Yeah. They could have 70 people. You know, so.
The Glue Factory Comedy, I don't know the people. They're doing a show in Providence in some beer garden, like an actual, you got to buy tickets, in-person show. So that's coming back. And a new trend you're seeing right now is backyard shows. Since the outdoor thing is, people are just doing open-air comedy shows and traveling, like Brian Barbecue and Ham Clancy are actually basically, you book them, they'll bring their gear to your backyard as long as you supply a power cord, and they'll put on a show. And I'm trying to get one on my beach and see how.
I've always booked a lot of house parties and backyard parties. Last July I did one. I'll never forget it. It must have been 100-something degrees, and I'm out there at this graduation party, and little by little. And I really don't, for a big guy, I don't sweat a lot. By the time I got done, my shirt was drenched. My hair was drenched. I was like, just pay me and I got to get out of here. I was like, it was crazy. And her name was Betsy. And I think I'm Facebook friends with her now. It was her son's graduation party. had they were nice people. It was just doing one in July in a backyard, 100 degrees. I don't recommend.
Yeah, I think you and I did one of those a long time ago. It was just me and you, and it was my first backyard show. And we went to this house, and they weren't lacking for money. It was a beautiful set, and I think the reason it was me and you, it was because it had to be clean, and I could do a clean set. So we did it, and I was so nervous. I'll never forget that because I'm like, it was just me and you, and it ended up being that was a good show that night, if I remember correctly.
I remember I got a memory of you. I don't know. We came back from the show, whatever. You were with your wife, and you guys said, "Okay, I'll see you, Mike." You guys left, and then I'm down in my basement. And all of a sudden, you're looking in the basement window, knocking on the window. Scared the hell out of me. I'm like, who the frick is knocking on my basement window?
Yeah.
I mean, if it was a cheerleader from the Houston Oilers, it would have been cool. It's Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas is knocking on my window.
Yeah, the worst part.
Why did you do that? Why did you do that, Mike?
Why? Well, because I think the worst thing would be when you looked up the window, you'd have a view right up my shorts, and it would scare the hell out of me. So, that's why I did it.
I still live in the same house, and I never forgot. You're the only one that's ever looked in my cellar window that I know.
I'm gonna have to do that again. The next time I'm in Rhode Island, I'm gonna go to your house, and I'm gonna pick.
I'm like, what is he doing?
Now, Roman, you look like where you cut up bodies and dispose of them.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. He's got like a little. Like everybody else is in a nice room, a nice, and.
I'm in a dungeon, Mike.
Yeah, you're in the dungeon.
Yep.
The girl put you in the dungeon.
They locked the door. The hatch is locked.
All the girls lock them. They lock them up.
Oh, dear.
He's hiding bodies. His are in plain view. You have yours hidden somewhere in the basement corner. Bo has got them right there, and he just puts up a backdrop.
Yeah, I put them on they're behind the green screen.
Excellent. That's what I would do too.
Yeah, I don't have to clean up. I just put up the sheet. They can stay back there as long as they're gagged. I don't have to worry about it.
And Mike, I want to know when's the last time you rode that bike?
I ride that bike every day, dude. I'm out there every day getting myself in shape. I'm 62 years old now. So, the bad boy of comedy is graduated from bad boy of comedy to Grampy Mike. Matter of fact, today I posted a picture of myself with here on Facebook, and people are blowing it up because a lot of them, they don't remember that's what I looked like back at that time.
You had hair down your back.
Yeah.
When I had developed that character, the bad boy of comedy, and now 62 years old, Grampy Mike, getting myself in shape. I'm riding my bike every day, mastering what I call the flatland of my neighborhood because I live at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains here in North Providence. Because as I've explained on other shows, getting up out of my neighborhood is a major challenge. And the first time I tried doing it, I climbed the 3 hills, and Michael, I'm embarrassed to say, I fell at the top of every hill.
Oh my God.
Hill 1, hill 2, hill 3. I went down hard. Cut my knee. I'm bleeding. I had a woman jumping out from behind her SUV. What happened? What happened? So I'm just trying to get myself back in good shape. And
God
it's ironic that I say that as I'm smoking cigarettes,
Wow.
tapping back into the Johnny Carson time where you could smoke on a talk show.
Exactly.
Right? Really?
Yeah.
Exactly. But I'll tell you this. I want to continue for a second. I can remember when
You
my
got 5
son,
seconds.
when my son was born, moments before my son was born, Kent County Hospital, Darlene's about to give birth to Johnny. The doctor's got me in this back room, goes into his pocket and starts packing Lucky Strikes. opens them up, puts it in his mouth, takes a big drag, and says to me, Mike, in 20 minutes, you're going to be a dad. I was like blown away. The hospital, we're smoking cigarettes. And I'll never forget it. Darlene came through the delivery doors because she had a cesarean section. And back then, you couldn't go in to see that. Not that I would, because I probably would have thrown up because to see that happen. But anyway, Darlene comes through the doors and says to me, I told you I'd give you a son.
And he was smoking a cigarette?
Yeah, they
No,
was.
the doctor was. The doctor was. Bro.
Slap him, give him a lucky strike, light up.
Right, exactly. He's smoking a lucky strike. I'm like, whoa.
Hey, God bless you for riding the bike. Let me tell you, I can barely get out of bed. If I got on that bike, the seat would disappear. You wouldn't even see it.
I did my workout yesterday. I stopped by Mike's house for a few minutes. Then I went around a corner. Instead of taking a bike, I drove up the hill and right to Riccardi Sub Shop and bought a large tuna.
And there was
Bought a
Mike.
large tuna, lettuce, tomatoes, and hot peppers.
And there was Mike Cronin sitting on the curb bleeding.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. John and Terry come to my house yesterday. I manage John's YouTube channel. So he comes here, and we got some stuff happening here yesterday. We got some big stuff happening. Nick Albanese, Joe Petrucci, Greg Hall, we're all here. We're filming something that I can't talk about. But anyway, so John shows up, and I told him, John, I'm not really happy with the intro video that we have on our YouTube channel. I mistakenly filmed that.
It's fine.
Portrait. Let's do it landscape. Let me get you up against the wall. It's a nice sunny day. It'll be a nice full shot. Here's what he says to me. I'm not happy with what I'm wearing. What?
I didn't like the shirt I had on.
He didn't like the shirt he's wearing. I'm like, are you serious? He goes to me, because Johnny always calls me bad boy. I call him Johnny P. He calls me bad boy. He goes, bad boy, I don't like the shirt I'm wearing. Doesn't look good. I'm like, John, it looks beautiful. He had on a beautiful.
Not only that,
shirt.
Mike, it was 150 degrees. I had the air on in my car. I wasn't going to go stand by a cement wall for 10 minutes. I wasn't going to do it.
What it comes down to is
I'm
this.
anti-heat. I don't like the heat.
It's
The man that we have grown to love, John Perrotta,
I don't like the
we
heat.
finally found out he's a diva. He's like this. Wardrobe, wardrobe. I can't work with this person. Hair and makeup. Get him in here right now. I refuse to do this.
Crazy, man. Let's switch over. We got to go back to Elaine because she's our female tonight. Elaine, you got any stories from your movie days, your Houston Oilers days? What do you got? You got something you can remember? You can tell us.
Oh my God.
I saw your movie. What was the name of that movie you had?
Betty and Angela's Beauty Salon and Funeral Parlor.
Yeah.
I'm always ready to plug it.
a beauty salon and a funeral parlor. I remember.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Well, it was a mortician married to a beautician in a mafia neighborhood. So it was just so much fun to do. I loved it. We shot it in 2 days. I had people from Drew Carey's company, Kevin Costner's company, were in my crew, and the director was director of development at Kevin Costner's company. So we get everything free. Then the guy that ended up playing the priest, I met at one of those angel parties, because the director said, I'm going to, go and get, look for money for Kevin's company. I said, okay, can I come to the party? He said, why? You can't raise money for a short film. There's no return. I said, well, can I come anyway? Well, I ended up getting the whole damn thing financed.
Are you serious?
Except talk and that, maybe. But
you got the whole thing financed.
Yeah, and the guy wanted to be an actor. That was this big stockbroker or financial guy. And so I gave him the part of the priest at the end and made him executive producer, gave him a title. And he paid for the whole thing. And we had the best time ever. It was so much fun. And yeah, a lot of guys were in there. Like there's a guy named Bruno Kirby. He was big.
Yeah.
A lot. Great guy.
Bruno Kirby, yeah.
Yeah, and then Johnny Roast Beef Williams. He was in Goodfellas. He was in Honeymoon in Vegas.
Yeah.
And ended up, I shouldn't say, we ended up throwing him off the set because I said, I want everybody to be happy. I want a happy set. I can't deal with miserable people. So he was a divas. Oh, God bless him. He comes on the set and he starts fighting with my partner. And the guy that played Vinny, the little skinny guy. So he's like, Elaine, I said, beat the daylights out of me, right? And I said, no, he's not. So I went and talked to him. And so we kind of, just gave him enough lines to be in it. And then that was it. And, he really had a bigger part, but he wanted to beat up Vinny.
I enjoyed that. Because being Italian, I guess, I enjoyed the whole premise of mortician and the
And the music. But I have another project, though, seriously, that I did a few years ago, but it ended up not getting off the ground. But it features a bunch of comics. It's all comics telling their favorite story about a certain thing. And we actually had it, ready to go to shoot. And then Lionsgate bought Image Entertainment, who had bought my film. So I'm going to start working on it. So any of you guys want to be in it, or work on it, and,
Yeah, let us know, yeah.
You can do it out of your house.
We'd be interested, yeah.
Yeah.
So you were Houston Oilers cheerleader. Now you did that for about a year, you said, right?
Yeah, the first year. I did it for 1 year. That was it. But again, that was a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I always got in trouble because when they would show, I was dyslexic, so everybody had one leg up the right, I'd have the left, and I never believed it until someone put a picture of all the girls in line on one of these reunion things, and there I was with the wrong leg up in the air. So you never know.
And when did you did comedy? You said you did comedy in LA before, and I talked to you before. What clubs did you do in LA?
Okay, it's really funny because I was sitting next to this lady one time at a church group, and these ladies that were really kind of lame talking about, and we have this thing to sell and whatever. So I, being from Rhode Island, is sitting there with smart mouth answers under my breath to everything they say. So the lady next to me goes, "Oh, you should be a comedian." I said, "Oh, shove it," because I thought she was crazy. And she said, "No, I'm a regular at the Comedy Store." I said, "Oh, okay, well, I write." So she said, "If you write my act, I will teach you how to do stand-up." So she did. And I remember I went to see her to perform her act in the original room. And I had my little cards because I was going to open mic. And then she comes back and gets my cards and says, "Oh, by the way, I signed you up. You're going on next." So the very first place I ever performed was at the original room in a Comedy Store.
Wow.
And talk about lucky. That was like a blessing from God. And then after that, we just did like Vitello's where Robert Blake supposedly shot his wife. We used to do, Dante, he was on Last Comic Standing, and he had that room, and then he had another room called Canoga Bowl. It actually was like a cave that went down, so you were on the ground and everybody was up, and that was fun. And there'd be two drunks sitting in the bar, and you'd have to just do your act to keep going.
And what did you meet any famous comedians when you were out there? Did you meet any?
Yeah, I met some of the girl comedians, not like hang out with, but I hung out with my friend Amy Ashton and then Lemaire were regulars there. And then Sherry Shepherd was there. I forgot the name of this really popular girl. And then Chris Rock was there right after I did my little set, my little 5 minutes. I got off, and a couple of people came on. And then Chris Rock walks in, and that's it. Everybody else is no more comedy. He took over for like an hour and a half to practice his new act. So
An hour and a half.
Wow. Yeah, it was pretty exciting because you don't know who's going to drop in. All the comics that are big guys or women, they go in there to practice before they go on a tour or do HBO special.
Yeah. So you've done a lot of stuff.
And then I was on hiatus. For years I didn't do anything. Now I'm back, and now this happened.
Now you're back and a pandemic hits.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna say the word, but yeah, you know what I mean. I'm being good.
Yeah. It's
Mm.
we got room unlocked in the basement still. When did they let you out, room? They let you out for breakfast or?
They do. They actually open the door. They slip the food in, close the door, and when I'm done, I put the tray near the door.
I thought you were gonna say they let me out to cook breakfast for them. That's
On weekends.
Nobody eats in my house until I get up. So you're probably the same. I gotta get up and cook.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were on stage, room?
Last time was the weekend that the stay-at-home order came. Yeah, I think it was like March 13th, March 14th, around that time.
The last time was March 15th. I did a little birthday party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was it.
It's been a while.
Yeah, that was it. My son told me, he said he travels a lot. He said, Dad, there's this bad virus coming. He's telling me in January. He said, you got to stock up on your food, and your shows are going to get canceled. I said, they're not going to cancel shows. I said, it's like a flu. I said, it can't be, and all of a sudden, we had the Asia Grill on a Saturday. I had a show on a Friday, 150 people. They canceled it. I was like stunned, right? I was like, you're going to be kidding me. And then the Saturday night came, I had Asia Grill. I talked to the owner into doing it. He didn't want to really do it. We had 85 reservations. We always had 85, 90 people. And we had 27 people come. And that's when I knew that night that we're in trouble. Something's definitely going on here,
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, John, it's funny that you said I worked for Verizon. So I worked for Verizon. Verizon moved me down there. Well, I've since retired from Verizon.
Are you retired from Verizon?
Well, they offered a package, and everything was a lot of years. So I took the package and I worked for Disney. And I was in a meeting in December with people from Disney that came from China. And in December and January, I was so sick.
Oh.
So sick. I mean, I breathe. I couldn't sleep in a bed. I had to sleep in a recliner or sleep, elevated. And I'm telling you, it was definitely. I definitely think I had.
You had the virus?
It was terrible. And I went to the doctor 3 times. The third time they looked at me and they said, I don't know what's wrong with you. You don't have the flu. You don't have bronchitis. You got something, but I don't know what it is. They gave me some medicine. I went home. It took me a month to get better. And then my daughter got sick, my 20-year-old daughter. She was sick for a month, went to the doctor, same thing. So I'll tell you, when I first heard about that, I thought you did. It's gonna be nothing. It's 2020. We got all the drugs. We got all the. But I'll tell you, it's a scary thing. It's a scary thing. So.
Yeah. It's been unbelievable. I never imagined it could knock everybody. So many people I know, from comedians to restaurant owners to all different kind of businesses. People I know that I'm riding by places today, and this place is shut down, and that place is shut down, and restaurants I knew, like people are closing. It's a bad times, man. These are bad times,
And it's taken out places that have been in business for years. I mean, things that have been around our whole life. They can't stay closed anymore. They can't.
The 1149 restaurant in East Greenwich, Warwick, East Greenwich. A few weeks ago, I remember all of a sudden they were closing. And, other restaurants I've heard. And I read a thing online that the UK's got. They were saying that had a really great comedy scene.
Yep.
600 comedy clubs all throughout the UK, and a lot of comedians, and it was a great comedy scene. And they said because of the virus, they're saying 300 comedy clubs might not reopen.
Wow.
It was like 300 comedy clubs, and they said about 35-40% of the comedians are not going to go back to comedy, right? They can't. I mean, there's no work. So there was a lot of comics working. It was a vibrant scene, and then the virus hit over there, and they said 300 clubs might not reopen.
Johnny P, that's why you got to stay healthy. Because I'm going to tell you, when I first started, you only had choices to work at Periwinkle's, the Comedy Connection, up in Boston, Nick's Comedy Stop. There was only a few places, and they had their own set. They had their own people that they hired. They dealt with actual comedy, the comedy scene. And I'm telling you, if it wasn't for people like you and Mike that booked these rooms, the comics that, like us that just started out, we had nowhere to go. And you guys, it's people like you that gave people a shot.
Well, the reason I booked them was because, I mean, I did it in the 80s and I quit, but everything stopped. All the Stitches in Boston went out of business. Catch a Rising Star in Boston all the clubs went out of business.
Yeah.
I was like, me and my friend Tim Sullivan, what are we going to do? So he said, let's start our own comedy night. It was at the Great Imposter in Warwick. So we started it. And then I just got into booking stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like that the pandemic happened, but, I was going 150 miles an hour. I'm more relaxed now.
Yeah.
I was doing so much, and I had so many rooms going, and I had so many new comics and veteran comics contacting me. My phone was going day and night, texting me, looking for work and hosting spots. And so I'm actually, in a way, I'm kind of more relaxed, and I don't think when it comes back, I'm probably not going to get into it as heavy as I was. Because I'm 62. I'm 62 now, and I was really going 100 miles an hour, 150.
I'm telling you, I think it was about 20 years. Did it from like maybe 1993 to like maybe 2013. And man, I'll tell you, we would do shows with you, and it would be almost your time to come on, and you wouldn't be there yet. And we'd be like, "Where's Johnny P? Oh, he had 3 other shows he was doing before this one. We got to keep it going. We got to keep it going. Johnny P's doing shows everywhere else. We got to." And then you'd come in and I gotta get out of here. It was crazy. It was crazy.
The most I ever booked in one day was 8 shows. I was nuts. I did 5 of them. I booked 8 shows. I started 2 in the afternoon at some backyard cookout. I was a good organizer. I could tell, like, Bo, be at this club with a sound system. I'll be there at 4. In Roman, I'll be there at 6. And I was a good organizer, and I just put a lot of shows together.
Yep.
My record was 8 in one day. That was like nuts.
And the crazy part was you would show up at the other shows at the beginning, because you'd come to like the Seacon Perrota Inn and you'd give me the set list because I'd be hosting and be like, "Here's the set list, I gotta go," and you'd disappear for 3 hours for the shows, and then you'd come back and do the last act of the night. It was crazy.
I was nuts. I didn't know how to say no to a gig, and that's what I got to learn to do.
And all the people on this call, picture this. John Perrotta was the first person I ever knew with a cell phone that he walked around with. And it was a brick. It was a brick with an antenna. And he would be calling everybody. 1993, he had this brick that he would hold to his ear and he'd run around. It was 15 years later. We had iPhones, we had these flip phones, we had all these new phones. John still had the brick with the antenna that he was calling his friends on. And I'm like, "John, what's the new phone?" He's like, it works fine, it works fine. It was a brick with an antenna. He would put it on the table, everything on the table would shatter and break. It was a brick.
A brick.
Do you remember that? You had that old phone. It was that.
I had a big Sprint phone. I had a big Sprint. I think it was Sprint. Yeah, crazy.
I think so.
I think Mike's in the middle over here. What's going on, Mike? Anything else? You want to smoke another cigarette?
Well,
You want to take a ride to the pond? What do you want to do? You want to go to Roman's basement?
I
Want to go over Bo's house?
I agree with what Mike Thomas is saying. I've said to this, John, to you for years, you are.
Your volume is kind of down. I don't know why. Your volume's kind of down.
Oh, you can't hear me good?
I can hear you, but it's usually louder.
Should I yell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of down tonight.
Oh yeah, that's right. Zoom has a.
Anyway, all kidding aside, Mike, that doesn't surprise me. John Perrota is an absolute machine in motion. I have shared this story on other shows that we've done. When I had Miko Comedy Stop Productions, yeah, we were rolling pretty good. We had quite a few rooms in Massachusetts. We had the Carousel Grill here in Rhode Island for a couple of years. We had Patrick's Pub. So John's one of my best friends. I love John dearly. We've been best of friends for 30 years. I book him. So he calls me up and he says to me, he always calls me bad boy, I'm going to send you my headset. I'm like, John, just email it to me. No, I don't do that. I'm old school, bad boy. I'm like, John, take my email address and just send it to me. No, give me your address, bad boy. Give me your address. So I give him my physical address of where I live. I hang up the phone from John, Mike, go online, grab his headshot, put it on all my promotional posters, on my website, across all my digital media. I'm all set. 3-4 days later in the mail, I get this big 8x10 mailer folder. John Perrotta's headshot. He mailed
I'm
it
old
to me.
school.
He mailed it to me. So, Michael, what you're saying, it does not surprise me. John Perrotta, who I've told many times, I love him dearly. If it wasn't for me meeting John and let's not talk about, let's take rather the friendship that John and I have. I love this man dearly. He's one of my best friends.
Can't hear you good, Mike. I don't know why.
I don't know why you can't either. I'm not.
Is
I'm
it
not-
me? Is it me or you guys?
Everybody.
No, he's a little down. A little down.
Yeah, you're usually really loud.
Maybe it's all the smoke in his lungs. Maybe it's
I don't
preventing him.
know. I don't know.
The emphysema's kicking in.
Maybe there's a volume on your computer. It's gonna go up. I don't know.
His mic volume's probably down.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yo,
Better now?
that's a little better.
So that's what you get for paying $9.95 at Walmart for a headset. Right?
Yeah.
If it were not for me meeting John and becoming friends with him, and like I said, let's take the friendship aspect out of it. Let's just talk about professional business to business. I never get to where I am today. The bad boy of comedy does not get birth if I did not meet John Perrotta. Because in meeting John that night at Periwinkle's, and he's putting his head down because he's very humble, if I don't meet John that night in 1991, 1992 at Periwinkle's, I don't go from a 3-minute comic to a 5-minute comic to a 7-minute comic to a 10-minute comic, and then within like a couple of years, closing shows for John Perrotta. And I can tell you.
Oh, you were hilarious, man, back in the day.
Yeah, but I can tell you, it was also John being patient with me too, because let me tell you, man, there were times I let him down. Because
oh yeah.
then, dude, I drank. I could put a U.S. Navy destroyer under the water. That's how much I would drink. And there were times where I let John down. I embarrassed him. But yet he stayed with me. And he believed in me. And I was able to develop the bad boy of comedy character, that whole persona on stage, and work it to the point where I got not only headline work for John, feature work for John. Dana from the Comedy Connection started booking me, gave me a ton of work. So, man, when you say, Mike, it doesn't surprise you.
Send me a check. I want 10%.
With that brick phone, man, I remember it. I mean, I remember those days. I remember when John and I were in studio on the Carolyn Fox show. You remember that, John?
Yeah, to plug a benefit. Yeah. Yeah.
In studio with Carolyn Fox. And at that time, let me tell you, man, at that time, Carolyn Fox reigned the airwaves. She was like the Howard Stern of Rhode Island. So for John and I to get on her show and do an in-studio segment was absolutely huge.
She was really cool too. She was really cool. She lives in New York now. I'm actually Facebook friends with her.
Are you really?
Yeah.
But Mike, you're absolutely true, because after Periwinkles, you take the comedy course, and Bo, you probably experienced this too. It's you take the comedy course, you got to graduate and perform on stage. If there wasn't people like John Perrotta, you would have never worked together.
That's right. We don't happen.
I mean, I was just one of the guys that there's a lot of guys like me that help guys out get stage time.
Not in Rhode Island.
No.
That's right, Mike. That's right. And I tell that to John all the time in our private conversations. There is no one like John Perrotta. I tell all
That guys
my
are crazy.
I've been doing this
Guys are
over 30
nuts.
years. Over 30 years I've been doing this.
I'll agree. My two ex-wives will agree. There's no one like me either.
Yeah, okay. You're being funny and humble again, but I'm being serious. There is no one like John Perrotta.
There's got to be somewhere.
The opportunity
John, you're leaving a vacuum. Once you're gone.
all of us.
You're gonna have to take over,
Get
Bo.
his start in
You're gonna have to take over.
I was gonna say, once John is done, Bo, you sound like you got it. You're the next one in line.
Bo's young. He can do it. Roman, you guys can take over. Book a bunch of rooms. Stay on the phone all the time.
I'm like, you're gone. There's a big vacuum to get booked now. I mean, DiNuccio's filling up somewhat of the void, but like in Western and Rhode Island, you're it. In most of Rhode Island, like unless you go to Worcester, or is it Worcester, whatever, they can't talk up there. Boston, like that's their way up there. There's nothing going on down here.
Yeah.
And when you're gone, there's a void. Like,
Hopefully, like I said, hopefully this is gonna come. Pandemic, we'll get a cure and we can get back going. And I don't think I'll be as busy as I was, but I'll definitely get work for for the guys. And it's we got to get through this. This is tough times. Tough times.
yeah, people jumping. Not even jumping the gun. There's people who are, I want to say, who are looking to fill the void already. Like I'm trying to venue. There's a few other people I know are trying to because there's a lot of open mics and shows that went on over and over again, like showcases that are gone. Like you said, John, like just restaurants didn't open up, or they want to focus on the eatery, like the comedy shows. And there are people at my level who are like, oh, we can come in now and set ourselves up and get our names on the flyers and the show.
Oh yeah, of course. Until like I was doing about, I don't know how many restaurants, but until those restaurants, unfortunately I was doing a lot of dinner shows. Dinner shows right now are dead. So yeah, until they get a vaccine, I wasn't doing as many clubs anymore. I was doing more dinner shows. So until they come back, I'm kind of on a hiatus.
There'll always be room for Johnny Perrotta, because I'm telling you right now, all these other people come up, John with his thick Italian accent, get out of all of it. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm John Perrotta. You'll be fine.
I'm just another comic, man. Another comic trying to help guys out.
It's your organizational, and you just go out and do things. I'm telling you,
I was a one-man comedy wrecking crew. I just had I got a system. I always told Rock and Joe, I got a system. I get a room, I book it, I got a guy that makes the flyer, I get the flyers in there, I do all certain things. I write the newspapers, I do some advertising, some Facebook ads. I got a system. Each room I get on, and I do the system, and it worked for me. Eventually, we get good crowds at all the shows, and it would work, like I said, hopefully we can get back to that. We got to wrap this up. So, Elaine, what do you got to say to leave us with some words of wisdom? Anything? You buy the pond over there. You got all the animals. You got a barn over there. You got a barn?
A barn? No, but I have a shed. And
Good shed.
I have some big tools in there, so it looks like somebody's, roaming in the basement, and you can fit right in the shed. It's all kinds of crazy saws and whatever, things that snag something with. It's really, but anyway, it's all fun. And again, thank you, John, because I came back to Rhode Island when my parents were sick, and ended up, unfortunately they passed, and then I'm here, and I saw that you were doing your class, so I said, oh, I want to start again. And thank you for, putting together such a great class. Got to refresh, got to write, got the bug back to stand up.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed your shows, and you're one of the kindest men in the world. And I cannot wait till this is over so everybody can, start again, and then you can do what you love.
Yeah, we loved having you in the class. You, Bo, we had a good time. We had a good time.
That was fun.
I actually had a few comics. They wanted to see if we would do the class on Zoom in September, but right now I don't think so. But who knows? But I think it'd be tough to do on Zoom. It could probably be done, but I don't think we're going to do it though. But Elaine, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
As always, we love hearing all your stories. You've had an interesting life. Got a lot of cool stories. We got now Mike is up here. Before he was down there. Mike's in Florida. So you're not working for Disney now, right?
Well, everybody's not working now for Disney. I mean, they just opened back up. We'll go back to work. Everybody will be back in place. But no,
what do you do at Disney? What do you do?
So I do finance, corporate office. It's a good place to work, but it's just now with the parks closed, they basically send everybody home. So once they ramp back up, I'll be back. But you know what? I'm glad. I'll work from home when they open up, and I just want to be home. I don't want to go out and be out in that crazy world until everything's settled down.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, Janet, my wife, she works in a chiropractic office, so she's going to the office every day. So she's out there every day, and I want to fumigate her when she comes home.
Tell her I said hello. I've known his wife for a long time.
She said she might stop in and pop in and say hello, but she didn't do it. So
yeah,
she's probably out in the pool.
Well, it's great seeing you again, Mike. Well, we'll have you guys on again. Roman, you're in the basement. I'd love to get you out of there. I don't know.
Send help, John.
I can't wait to book all you guys in another show. So Room, and we worked together quite a few times the last few years, and we had a good time. You always did a good job for me. I look forward to get you back in there.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we'll have you back on. Bo, those of you who don't know, I drove Bo crazy for about 3 weeks because I had no idea about Zoom. We were trying to get it on Facebook Live, and it kept cutting out, and we were trying all different things, and finally we worked out this situation. And I owe Bo a lot because this has helped my sanity. So thanks to Bo, I've been able to do these Zoom shows. So Bo's a great guy, and I really appreciate it, Bo. All you've done,
No problem.
all you've done to help me, and I drove you nuts, right? I drive you nuts.
It was fine. You drove my wife nuts.
There we got Mike Cronin, the bad boy with his bike and his cigarettes, his strikes. Is that what you call them? What's this, Lucky Strikes?
No, they're Winston's. I gotta quit smoking. I know I do. So I broke the cardinal rule tonight. I went back to the Johnny Carson, Tom Snyder, smoking on a chat show. So I did it. But I want to say this in closing. Mike Thomas, great to see your happy face tonight. So good to reconnect with you. Roman, Bo, I don't know you. It was great to meet you, hear your stories, talk to you. Elaine, you and I were on a show before. It was great to catch up and hear some of your new stories. And Johnny P, to you, as humble as you are, and the Word of God tells us about a man being humble. John Perrotta is the epitome of a humble man. Johnny P, I thank you for all the opportunities that you have given me throughout my comedy career. And I look forward to taking a stage again for John Perrotta's Comedy Factory.
Yeah, you'll be back. All you guys will be back.
I love. You're interrupting me. Stop. Don't talk. Let me close and close strong. Johnny P, I love you and Terry, David and Gina. God bless you all. I love you. I pray favor, God's favor, all of you tonight and all listening to this chat show. We're going to get through it. God bless you all.
All right, everybody. I'm
Take care, Mike.
gonna sign off, but you can stay on for a minute. When I sign off, we can talk for a minute. Everybody stay healthy. Thanks all you guys, Elaine, Mike, Bo, and Roman for coming on. We had some fun, interesting conversation, and it was a good time. A lot of people have been watching these with the pandemic going on. It's giving people something to do. They've been enjoying them and getting a lot of good comics, a lot of good feedback and comments. And so thanks all you guys for coming on, and Elaine. I'll see you guys. Stay healthy, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Johnny.
Good night. God bless everyone.